Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Good morning, Clark. How are you this morning, sir? Thank you. And Apostle, how are you this morning?
Bishop, chairman of the board, superintendent. I'm doing very, very fairly well there, brethren.
Fairly well, fairly well. As we do our old Negro spiritual this morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, good morning, Milwaukee. Man, okay. I had to make a little bit of an adjustment. Again, thank you, Michelle. We have really worked on making sure that Kennedy is culturally competent. One of the first books she got was The Anti-Racist Baby. And we moved on from there. So, again, good morning. Let's see what I look like here. I don't like this angle, man. We got a better angle. No, okay. Do I need to move in the middle?
Kind of quiet today.
No, man. I just this angle. This.
I know it's one of the mornings for me, man.
Yeah.
God told Michelle I got my bathroom tore out for the pipes. Man, them pipes so old. They were so old. They was there when the house was built.
Yeah.
But the guy left my. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm going to get mad, start cussing on the radio, so I'm going to leave it alone.
That'll be your last day here.
3 words. Mexican. My buddy, who was he? He was talking. We was talking about a roof and how when we got our roof replaced, and actually we used because the guy on our block, he does a lot of this, so we went through it. Got a great deal. The guys that worked on it though were from Lake Geneva. My buddy asked me. He said, "So, were they Mexicans?" No, no, they were not.
Well, I had one of them.
And so then, then we get in this whole discussion, and have to always be careful how we talk about Black people, because
You talking about me?
no, sister, we gotta be careful how we talk about Black folks, because, and I tell people I don't want to be stereotypical, I don't want to be pejorative, but when you see roofs getting done, and who's doing those roofs, and how long it takes them to do the roof,
Right.
You figure it out. Because, man, these dudes, and I thought roofers got paid a lot of money. They don't. They get like between $12, $14 an hour. And they're out, in all kind of weather. Because when we got our roof done, it was Thanksgiving week. It snowed on that Monday, that Sunday. That Monday, they waited. The Monday afternoon, they was there. They cleared it out. They had to come in and do some little stuff after the day after Thanksgiving, but they got it done. Now, I have seen some brothers, and I'm going.
Number one, they don't come with enough people.
True. I'm gonna tell you.
But they don't come with enough people.
I'm gonna tell
The people across the street from us got their roof done. The people across the street from us got their roof done. They showed up with 900 people. That's first. Of all ages. Everybody had a job, and everybody did their job.
Yep.
Lunch hour was
The same
29
time.
minutes. Because you got a half a minute to pull your food out, eat, half a minute to put your little lunchbox away.
Go back to work.
And when I tell you they work from that, if that job said they started at 8:00, they work from 8 to 5. No nonsense. Them folks, and it was up there without even them little safety straps on. I said, y'all don't have a little thing in case you fall off the roof. That man's roof was done just like that in a matter of days. On the other hand, some of y'all cousins did the roof on the house we in right now.
It
took 17 weeks.
Thank you, Michelle.
They wanted you to buy their materials up front because Negro didn't have no money. Every time you turn around, okay, take me to Home Depot. And then, my car done stopped. Can you come give me a ride? Because a ride in a Benz, and the Benz
Well, no.
done stopped.
But Michelle, I got
I'm
one.
just saying.
But Michelle, I got one worse than that. They was doing our roof on the 4th of July. They was barbecuing in front of our house.
Wait a minute.
They was barbecuing. Yeah, they was doing the roof, doing the holiday season around 4th. They came on the 4th of July. They were barbecued in front of the house. They had a little grill. We put up like.
See,
I would not lie on this. Hey, I'm not lying.
Wait, so they used your property?
No, they put the barbecue grill in front on the sidewalk.
It's still your property.
no, it's not. It's the sidewalk.
It's the
sidewalk.
sidewalk. They weren't on the property.
Okay,
It's the city.
so
They just had their lunch cooking while they was working. That's it. Don't try to make this bad.
It's bad.
Don't
You
try to-
can't spend it no other way. It's bad.
And again, we're trying not to be stereotypical
Hey,
But our people,
nor pejorative.
but what have I said though? All of the work that had to be done in that house to move back in that house, painting, carpet, take up removal, just all kinds of stuff. Couldn't hire nobody black.
Guess what color they are?
The Asian people put down the floor. It was 2. They put down living room, family room, dining room, wood floors. And just 2 of them showed up. Because see, they ain't show up like the Mexicans. They showed up just 2. And you was like, well, this gonna take all day in a couple of days. And one of them was like 75. It was the man who looked like he was in his late 30s, early 40s, and his daddy. Them 2 men put all 3 of them floors in one day.
Yeah. And let me shout
Took
this
a
out. And
29-minute lunch break too, and was right back at it.
this is why I don't want to be, because there are,
Because we play too much.
because the guy,
That's
We
what he
use
said.
monkey glue.
because the guy that I use, Jesse, there, get it done right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just saying, and then my boy go, so you got a problem with black people? I said the first thing you asked me was, did Mexicans do it? I'm just saying. So you know what, man? Now some of this is just on us, but I'm going to do a whole thing on it, and I use this quote: "You run faster when you're hungry."
Yeah. Well,
You run faster when you're hungry. When people are out there trying to make this is how they're eating.
But you know what? But the other thing too, because I'm just not about running fast. I'm also about quality. You know,
It was
And
easy, yeah.
if you got pride in yourself and your work,
Right.
then you show up in a way that
Right.
represents that.
Right.
And it's just, but that's why I said all these people railing against these Mexicans doing these and this work
Man,
that they
they do
doing.
their work.
Everybody I know got Mexicans doing their roof.
They do their work.
Everybody I know.
Everybody.
Because it's fast, it's
It
clean.
only take 2 days.
I mean, they came in and did that man stuff across the street, and you couldn't tell when they left that anybody had been there.
Yep.
There wasn't no debris left. At the end of the 5
Talk to
o'clock
him,
shift,
Michelle.
it was clean around that
Mhm.
house. It
Talk
wasn't
to him,
no
Michelle.
excess laying around for
Talk
for
to him.
tomorrow. I mean,
Out there
It-
with
it
the
was
magnets.
impressive.
With
Yeah,
the magnets.
it was impressive. And then we had tree removal, and this Mexican dude lived down the street from us. He was like, hey, and I love this guy. I don't even know. I just learned his name like in the last 2 months, but he would see me plowing our driveway, and he would come through with his truck plow, and like where the city be done replowed you back in.
Mhm.
Dude would come through there, here, clear that whole front of that driveway, and just wave his hand and keep going. I stopped
See,
him. I was like,
that's-
let me give you something, man. He was like, nah, you good? I didn't even know he was a neighbor. I just thought he was working the area.
And,
Wow.
and you know what?
But he lived at the end of the block.
And you know what? I do that for my neighbors on my block with my snowblower. I go down the whole block.
That's what I used to
go
do
down the whole
when I
block.
was on Sherman. That's what I
All
used to
you
do.
got to do is shovel your sidewalk. I got this. I got
Because
the
and a
city
lot of
walk.
them didn't have snow blowers, and so you just would do it. But he looked in our yard after that storm took that tree out,
Oh.
and that tree, we had somebody come out there. They had told us like $800-900 to take this tree out and all of this. He came through. He said, "Hey, you got somebody take care of that tree?" And we was like, "Yeah, we got a quote." He said, "Tell me what the quote is." He came in at less than half of the quote, and he was like, "We'll be over here Saturday." I left, went to the bank, came back. The tree was gone.
Wow.
The bank is on Brown Deer Road.
So what color is he?
I was on Calumet. He's a Hispanic man.
Listen,
Now-
And his granddaughter was out there helping him do all
So
the
Lee
work.
said, and don't forget the drinking breaks and asking for cigarettes.
no. Hey, listen, check this out. This is the honest to God truth. Honest to God truth. Before I started, doing this here, I picked up a
Oh,
little.
you so country.
Shut up.
This here.
When I started doing this, I picked up a little side job with my guy. He got a little roofing thing that he do. I ain't gonna say the name of him because people know who he is. But so he does roofing. So I picked up a little job working with him. Honest to God truth. So I'm carrying tiles up the ladder to the roof. It's hot as a fool up there, whatever. But this is what I noticed about our people. We'll get started. We'll start something. This dude said, man, let's take a smoke break and go get something to eat. But the smoke break one, it wasn't cigarette break. It was a cousin's smoke break. So it's like a team of like 4 of us. Okay, so we take a smoke break, go get something to eat. Doc, when I tell you, it took us forever to do this one house because after you take the smoke break and get something to eat, it's like, all right, man, see y'all tomorrow. So all in the front part of this person's house was all of the equipment that they
That's what I'm saying.
just left it there. Like, we'll be back in the morning. But I looked at that like, it's a shame because it's us.
It's a work ethic.
Yeah.
It's us.
And I'm paying real money.
Yeah.
Like, I'm paying real money for
I'm talking about
this
thousands.
nonsense.
And
Some
people
are
don't
thousands.
understand, man. Look, it's hard work.
Yeah.
And people expect it to get done. The difference between many of us is that we are 2 generations removed from our folks coming from the South, who are used to hard work, used to being on time, do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
We got this whole thing like, I'm going to do, and then I'm with you. A lot of these folks ain't even capitalized enough to be able to do what you normally do, right? So, right, why am I going to Home Depot to pick up stuff? That's what you're supposed to do.
Like,
Look at, because, man, they looked at the roof, said, this is what we're going to need. They had the dumpster in the backyard. Now, these were white folks from Lake Geneva, because, again, I'm thinking like roofers get $25, $30 an hour, between $12 and $14 an hour. Now, depending on where you are, that's enough to take care of your family. But it's an issue right now with, and look, at some point, that culture is going to begin to experience what we're experiencing now, because they second generation. I ain't getting out there like my old man. But you're right, it's the whole family thing, because we had some some concrete work.
Just
done.
don't start a business if you don't want to do it for real.
I'm with you, and that's the whole
just
thing.
don't
And then don't make me feel, oh man, you need to support Black business. You competing with other businesses. It is not my job to make sure you stay in business. It's your job to make sure you stay in business.
And then the other thing that's frustrating for me, you make it harder for other Black businesses.
Exactly. People gonna do what they're
because
supposed
people
to do.
gonna judge all of us based on what you did when you showed up, and make it easier for folks to be like, I'm not gonna use them. I understand when I show up in spaces all the time, whether I want to or not, I'm representing other Black folks. So I show up in a way that's professional, doing what I'm supposed to do, on time, in and out. And it's just frustrating. But
and then let me tell you something else. You socializing when you should be working. And you, how can you go to certain fast food joints? You got 8 people working, 1 person in line, and it take forever, because it's how we program people to work. And when it's time to work,
like I say, whatever that system is, they got a Chick-fil-A. It needs to be institutionalized everywhere.
Yeah, it works at Chick-fil-A.
Whoever designed they train it.
so Lisa, ain't no crackheads doing no roofing.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, wait.
So when you said
it ain't gonna be
crack smoke, hey, nobody crack doing roofs.
Hey, but Michelle.
Yes.
I'm gonna take a picture. I'm gonna show you the picture of the guy that did the tree of my neighbor, Black. You should see all the wood sawdust on the side of my garage. Just left it there. Just the tree.
You couldn't tell the tree was never there. I mean, they cleaned up everything. But can I play this before I go? Do you mind?
It's my program.
So yeah, it's your program. Down in Louisiana, you know, they're getting ready for Bertha to come through. The storm.
It's kind of already come through, hadn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. Has it come through already? But this reporter interviewed this brother to ask him how he was going to prepare for Bertha to come through. Y'all ready?
With Tropical Storm Bertha expected to make landfall tonight, what are you planning to do to stay safe?
Hide out in the dope house, ride on out. All the crack rock I can, yeah. Me and this little chicken right here, we gonna be just fine.
All right, stay safe out here.
Guess what color he is?
Oh
Guess
my God. But the reporter, who is the sister, when I tell you that girl did not break, she did not like.
They professional.
What you say?
I guess they professional.
Man, this man, he was actually holding a chicken under his arm while he was doing the interview. Y'all, what is wrong with my people? And then my brother talking about people still smoke crack.
That's what I was saying. Who's still doing crack?
But he literally said with a camera in his face, I'm going to the dope house.
Well,
Smoke as much crack as I can.
I'm gonna
And me and this chicken right here.
It's just like, you know, we doing our live Juneteenth, and you know, we invite people in to come in and greet. If my brother come in, what's happening? Hey, yo, what's happening? Let me shout at all my niggas, not on Juneteenth, bro. We can't use Juneteenth. Yeah, Juneteenth. Come on, not on Freedom
I
Day.
literally said, I want to shout out all my niggas. We could just see everybody's face.
Like,
And then everybody went, whoa. Hey, come on, man.
Dude, come on, man.
I turned around so quick. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, everybody was on high alert. Everybody was on high alert. All right, let me get out y'all way. Peace.
That's why I love my people. I love African people all over the world. Carla, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, it is. Some of them be doing. I know some of them.
Okay.
But anyway, I used to know them. But anyway, and another thing, they quit on you 1/3 way of the job, all that. Yep.
Yeah, you know what, man, and that's the piece. You know, and my mom always look at me crazy when I tell the story. I said I was down in Tennessee with my cousins. I'm 14. Dudes say, hey, man, you want to go meet some girls? Yes. I'm 14. So we go, man. He said, well, man, we going to go work in the field. Okay, no problem. Man, I went out. I don't know if you ever chop cotton. Y'all know what that is?
I did.
That's clearing the weeds from around the cotton plant so they don't choke.
I did it.
Dude, I worked so hard that day, and I made up in my mind, I'm going to college. Oh, man, I was out there one day. I wasn't built for that.
We knew, hey, you're not built for that because I did it for a whole summer.
Dude,
whole summer.
And wait a minute, I don't know how much you get for the day.
$12.
Okay, you got more than me. I got $7.
$12 from 6 in the morning till 3 o'clock.
What Jesse Jackson say? You work from KC in the morning to KC at night. And here's the thing, I'm just showing you, man, just how labor is exploited. When you pick cotton, they would have the people wait, right? You sitting there on that truck, and you would wait until the sun came up to dry out the cotton. Why? Because the cotton is lighter, so you don't get as much money. Man, so when people sit up here, let me shout out my Chicano folks who are out there picking, fruit. If you chop cotton, it's called a hoe, right? HOE, yep. And it's a long. Well, in order to clear the crops in California, they use a short hoe, so it's half the length. So those people are bending over, clearing, every day,
every hour.
And they finally made them put bathrooms out there so people could use the bathroom, and then they could get water. So when I hear Meech and other people calling here talking about they taking our jobs, Americans don't want to work that job.
Man, you can't even get an average black person in Milwaukee to go do chop.
Oh
cotton.
Man, caller, welcome to the program. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, brother. I was just listening to you. You guys were talking about the the immigrant workers. And, we were talking about how we 2 generations out. And you're probably right. 2 generations would be about right. What's happening here is that our youth, man, we've tried to give our youth, me coming out the streets, but I still had a little, vocational skill, vocational. See, it's the difference between vocational and higher education. And what we did, what our people did, is sent us out for higher education and forgot about the vocational piece. And we pushed that in our inner cities all around the country. That's why your wood shops and your metal shops and your auto mechanics and your home economics, all that was removed out of most inner city schools. Now the suburban schools, they still carried it in some places. And so you got your iron workers, you got kids coming out with that kind of motor skills to do that, to actually do that, man. They're motivated, so us trying to reach back now and grab onto our vocational trades, it's kind of hard to do, and it almost seems impossible because the people that removed that already had seen a cheaper workforce from somewhere else. They already seen this. See, we look at right now.
Well, no, that's not one of the reasons. One of the things was that it was called tracking, where you were moving, like particularly black males, into skills that was more menial labor than you going doing like, the academic stuff. And that's one of the reasons why. And then, as you said, there was a change because I interview a lot of people who are graduates of tech. And back in the 60s and going into the 70s, people saw the trades as a way out, right? And trades still are. I mean, you can get like when you're a pipe fitter.
That's the vocational.
But I'm saying, right, but it's not, and I can't even make the argument that that for people like, oh, the reason why I don't know this is because I was pursuing academics. That's not true. Not for black males.
Hold on, brother.
Not for black males.
A brother that's sent off to college ain't gonna know nothing about getting up on the roof or even cutting an angle. He ain't probably what.
But there's some dudes, though. Let me say this: there's some dudes who that was their summer job. When they came home from college, they were up. If the old man had a job, he knew somebody. So what I'm saying is, but of course, I didn't go to college to be a roofer. I'm just saying that you have people out there at this point where they don't have a college degree. They don't have college education. Some people have not finished high school. All right. So what kind of work are you going to get? Because your educational background, dictates the kind of work you're going to get.
Brother.
What do you say?
Brother, that's what puts them in a vocational class. That's why we went to Jewish vocational job service when we was kids. We went to CYD on Titonian Center. Those were vocations. The Urban League, when they was on 10th and Center, they sent us out to places like that, man. You see, what's happening is all of that's been removed. So we got a bunch of young people right now running around rapping. Some of them we can grab onto and we can learn them how to do certain things, okay? But the majority, man, is so, and I'm not giving these, I don't know where you get no roof done at $10 an hour, man, $14 an hour. Because most of your roofers, even the Mexican roofers, they want like $300 a day. You understand? That's per man. So I don't know where what happens.
If you go in and you Google what the average rate is between $12 to $14 an hour.
Brother, maybe picking it up, putting it in a dumpster as a manual laborer, but actually getting up on that roof, man. If you actually call in a real contractor, they done bid it in already. I bet you they had about $175 a man. The Mexicans want $300 a day, man.
Well, I don't know if, like I said,
Mexicans working hard in the mud. They ain't cheap, brother.
I'm telling you, it depends on who you getting your work done through.
That's right.
Right, and because your bid is going to be based on the cost of the labor to them. And I'm telling you that certain people go in, but if just Google it. What is the average?
This is how it works.
But look at it, man. But hold on, Meech, look it up, man. Look it up.
I don't have to look it up.
Yes, you do, because you sit up here making an argument.
No, brother, I'm out here in it every day.
Okay,
I don't have to look it up.
But you ate the world.
But I understand that. But this. Okay, check this here out. This is what happens, man. A guy comes in, a contractor comes in. He bids the job, right? He bids the job at let's say 22,000. Okay, he bids it at 22,000. He goes back. He goes back. He already got his work team. Now his team, he might pay $12 an hour, $14 an hour, but he done bidded it at the regular cost.
That's how he makes money.
I can't hear you.
Look, I have a contract with the county. I'm paid through a temp agency. The temp agency charges the county the top of that rate. I'm not getting the top of the rate. That's how they make their money. They're making their money based on the fact that this is what is coming in at. This is the top that you pay for this position.
Technically, the job is not any cheaper. Now, when you're going through a temporary service, what it does say is that major company, the insurance and workman's comp, because that pays through the temporary service. But that saves on that level. But when you're really looking at it, brother, you ain't getting no deal. The people that's getting the deal is the contractor. Then he dispersed the money out to the
market dictates the price, right? You know, so it's the market. So if there's a demand, so it is cheaper to get your roof done in the winter than it would be in the summer. Am I correct?
I can agree to that.
Because in the winter, people are not
material prices even kind of you get a
right
break
because
on that
during the winter, people usually not getting their roofs. If you drive now, look at all the roofs that are getting done right now. People next door to me, they put a patio in and they put down some a new driveway. Man, they were out there. Those were the days it was 100 degrees. They out there working in that weather, and they probably wasn't getting paid. But
anybody will do that, man, with a job.
No, anybody won't. That's the point we make it.
Hold on.
That's the point. Anybody won't. There's a whole lot of black males who do not see themselves getting out there working like that.
They don't have the vocational. I'm not gonna put the brothers down.
The skill set. You learn the skill set
out of that, man.
None of those Mexicans went to trade school to learn how to do a roof.
You know what
they learn on the job. They will teach you on the job. It's pretty simple what you have to do.
You know what the Mexicans did? The Mexicans passing it on back to they passing it down. They're passing the skill down. So that's what they're doing. I'm not gonna get them people, man. Look at, man, our people work just good. Matter of fact, I'd like to show you some work that was just done. It'll blow your mind.
I appreciate you, man. Let me go. I'm on the break.
And guess what? The deal we cut them in. They cut them in half so cold, man, because everybody else was at 37, 40, 42. We come in there, man, and doggone it, cut it in half, and it looks so cold, so nice, so lovely. Everybody love it.
All right.
This is just recent. This is real stuff, man. Black folk get down. Look, Mexican stuff start blowing off. You go 3 days later, 6 months later, stuff blowing off the side of the building, man.
That ain't true. And again, I'm trying to be very careful not to Beach, I'm trying to be very careful not to be pejorative and say, but when people look at their anecdotal experience, first of all, if you look at all the roofs, most of the roofs getting done are not done where you see black people even up on those roofs. Right?
You correct.
All right.
Correct.
So then the point becomes why. Common talked about with the song "The Corner," and he was saying how we've been standing on the corner. We ain't used to 9 to 5. Michelle just told you if the job starts at 8, these people start at 8. Ain't nobody pulling up at 8:15, 8:20. And then you're going to take a break at 9:30?
Everybody ain't doing that, man. Because guess what?
Everybody ain't doing it. And I agree with that.
Most of the time, black folk want to get a deal, so they go deal searching.
No, but see, that's the problem. You want to get a deal, you get what you.
And you know what? You can put a black person on a job.
Get what you pay for.
You can do the job.
You get what you pay for. I'm gonna say you get what you pay for.
Hold on, listen. First of all, when you're working for most of us, we want a deal, and that's
everybody want a deal, Meech.
I love
everybody want a deal,
but once you get done with that, they got something else.
I learned this. Sometimes you gotta pay. Hey, Meech. Sometimes you gotta pay the full freight.
The whole thing.
All right, I gotta go, man. I'm on break.
Okay.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Sometimes you gotta pay the pool. That's the whole problem. We want full free, and we want a break. Hey, man, no. If there's a certain quality that you want, you pay for that quality. Stop thinking that you sit up here when I was so embarrassed. This brother was asking me. He said, "Oh man, how much you pay for those shoes?" And I was embarrassed because I didn't want to tell him how much I paid for the shoes. because when he found out how much I paid for the shoes, somebody can go, "Oh man, you get shoes cheaper than that." Oh, yeah, I could, but it ain't the same quality. I'm paying for the quality, man.
It ain't the same quality.
Sorry.
It ain't the same feel. It ain't the same material. So, like with dress shoes, it's certain dress shoes that you can get for $300-400.
Yeah.
That if you try to get that same shoe that looks like that, but not that exact brand at a cheaper price, it feels different when you wear it. The whole
shoe is
the whole
quality,
shoe is
man.
Yeah.
You know, when people sit up and talk about, I got a pair of boots right now. These boots look like they're getting better as they get older.
Yeah.
Right. But what I paid for them, and I'm gonna tell y'all, man, I hate to, be that dude, but if you're paying $400 for shoes, that's really kind of midpoint for good shoes.
Yeah, because
you dropping a grand.
Yeah.
I'm talking about real good shoes.
Yeah,
now you can sit up here. Yeah, I had these dudes. Yeah, man, you get these Stacey Adams. It's back in the day, not today. When you look at that Christian Louboutin, when you dropping $1,200-1,400, that shoe is so well constructed,
and it lasts.
And
it's heavy. Like
and I'm gonna tell you, if you go to Allen Edmond, where they will customize your shoes.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing people don't know about leather and shoes. Most leathers is they mix it, right? It might not be from the same cow.
Right.
High quality shoe, it's the same leather on both pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Look on the inside of the shoe. What is your insole? Is it lined? Yeah. All those things. Now again, I'm not telling you to go out and drop $500-600 for a pair of shoes. All I'm saying is you get what you pay for. Yeah, period, man. I mean, I look at price point and I go, now can I get it on sale? That's a different beast. But then try to wait on it because there are other people out there who understand quality.
Yeah.
It's like you can buy a suit. Oh, yeah, man, I can get the suit for $119. You're going to be buying a new one in 3 weeks.
Yeah, because as soon as that thread get caught on something and it start pulling apart, your whole suit is done.
Man, this dude, he said, I know I got to go. I'm running low. This dude set me up, though.
Suit done.
He brought out 3 suits.
Oh, man.
He brought the most expensive suit. He brought the cheapest suit. And then he had the middle suit. What suit do you think I tried on first, Clark?
The cheapest?
The high one?
High end.
Oh, wow.
Because now, when I put on the low end, you go know and see the difference. Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm telling you, man. And it was just like, okay, let me go, man. I done.
You almost took your second break.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Keith Parris.
Join us Friday, July 31st at 11 a.m. for our 11th annual Community Resource Fair at the Clinton Rose Senior Center, 3045 North Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. There will be tons of resources, money giveaway every hour, state fair tickets, MPD ice cream truck, diversity mobile unit, mobile survive alive house, book bag giveaway, a demo drive of a Tesla, and fun for the kids. That's the WNOV Resource Fair, Friday, July 31st at 11 a.m. at the Clinton Rose Senior Center. Hope to see you there.
I want to add to that. That promo was supposed to start tomorrow. Now, tomorrow you'll forget to read it. But you got it in today, right?
We're doing ads for it already.
Yeah, but that right there, the line liner.
This is the problem around here. You told me read it.
Yeah, production meeting.
Well, Debo, if you look at what's on top of that, it says starts. They'll put the date on the top of it.
Yeah, don't that say 24?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, here's the problem, and this is why I didn't read it. It says it starts in Keith's show. So I don't know who Keith is. Right. So on Keith's show, it starts. But on Keith's program, it starts today. Welcome to the program.
So what's wrong there? Program or show?
Who Keith is?
I don't know who Keith is, but
he got it spelled Keefe.
Yeah, Kee.
Yes.
Hey man, that's who he's ever going. That's who he's going to be.
So maybe he doesn't know that your name is Keith.
I know it's Keith. It's Kei.
Oh, you wrote that?
I wrote that.
Oh, I thought it was Doug.
No, that's Kee because he's from the hood now. When dealing with me, so I took the.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What we need to understand, you cannot get good and cheap in the same category.
That's right.
For some people who want the deal, their money is not even worth taking because it comes with too many complications. Because they will be trying to get a $3,000 job done for $75 versus doing it correctly and right from the beginning. Now, I understand when Mexicans come, they get it done, and it's done right then and there. It is too many times with our own people that we have paid, and you call them back, and they're gonna give you every excuse not to show up.
I wasn't responsible for that part. I didn't fix that part.
So we have to clean that up. And I can also remember when I went out my way to try to get people who look like me, they either come up and say, well, I got to do this, I got to do that, or you might not want to pay, and you say, well, how much is you charging? Okay, well, I want you to come do it. You set an appointment, they don't show up, you call them back, they don't answer the phone, but then when you call somebody, they will travel a whole hour from a rural town, and it's their 22-year-old son and their 13-year-old neighbor. They come, knock it down, take it with you, you give them $100 and $50 tip, and it's done. So we cannot get mad when it comes to getting work done and people want to come do it correctly. It goes to our integrity issue, and that's why people are getting mad at people who are in the trades. We understand these people who live up north, they work in the trades, they hand it down to their kids. Why would a Mexican would not want to hand down what they know to their children? Right. It's no different than some of these black people who hang down religion to their kids.
Well, I think the other thing is, if you look at cops, firemen, right? A lot of it used to be that a lot of these folks had people that was already in the fire department or already in law enforcement. So they just passed it down. They knew how to prep you for the test. But I agree with you. And look, man, I know people hate this. They believe it. Quality cost. Yeah, I'm just saying, I know you don't want to, but it costs. And you can go back and forth, and he gonna do this for this. But if he's doing it at this price, it's like, do you go to call Keith to come over to clean the junk out your house? Or do you call one, I got junk? Because I got junk ain't going to dump your stuff at the Aldi's lot. This person trying to make money, and they don't want. So, and we've been having this discussion about supporting black business, and I understand black businesses have their challenges, but there are people every day talk about black businesses that give you a quality product. You competing in a marketplace, man. This ain't Tulsa, where we were forced to basically buy from each other. That ain't the case now.
And representation and delivery is everything.
Yes, sir.
And this is one thing that our people got to stop doing. If I got to pay you that, I'll go to the white man. Well, take your black aid to the white man and pay him. That's what you should do then.
I guess what you're going to do, you're going to pay him.
And then if the black man comes, he's licensed, he know the code, he can do it right, go on and pay the man his money. But if you say, if I got to pay you that, I'll go to the white man, well, take a second mortgage out on your house, go pay that white man, and then you tell that white man you're not going to pay him, and see how many liens he slap on your house.
Well,
and that bank
you're going to get a lien anyway. You signed
a
lien. You signed a lien when you do the contract.
So that's all I'm going to say to my black people, and y'all do need to talk to y'all kids who work at your family businesses. If your mother or grandmama got her eyebrows going to the top of her head and she always got an attitude, she should not be answering the phone. It's hello, how you doing? Not what's up.
That's the truth. I told Clark about a restaurant that I
have a good day.
I have never frequented again because I didn't like the dude's mama.
Yeah. Killing business.
That all you want?
Killing business.
What else?
You know, and look, I'm sorry that this is the job you got. I'm sorry. You know, I used to say this to staff. Customers don't care that you having a bad day.
Right.
I mean, they're here trying to, there's a service that we need to provide. And I used to say it all the time because, you know, I had to train managers and supervisors. Mm-hmm. There's some people on the counter that need to be on fries.
Yep.
There's no way that person should be dealing with the public. Because even when we interview people, oh, why do you want this job? Oh, because I love people. Don't lie to me.
That quickly changes.
That sends up a red flag right there. Yes, sir.
Clark, you were saying something?
Oh yeah. Listen, this just like
Take your
going
time. Play the keyboard. Do like Jermaine.
just like going into a restaurant and you walk up to the counter order something and you see the person with an attitude, you be like, oh man, she got an attitude. She, and won't even say, good morning, good afternoon, how you doing? And she'll sit there and wait until you say so. Instead of saying, good afternoon, how you doing? May I help you with your order? She'll look at you and you waiting on her to say something. Just give me this, give me that, give me this. And then she got an attitude. She get your money and turn around, get your cup and don't say nothing.
Yeah, and I think that is that maybe sometimes we're more tolerant of that.
But Keith, do we find that more in African American youth?
Yeah.
Because I swear I can go anywhere else in town, and if there's a Caucasian back there, hey, welcome to McDonald's. How can I help you?
Yeah. You right.
How's your morning going?
Yeah.
How's it going?
I'm telling you, and this is this whole thing about free expression and understanding that your child will be out competing. I'm dealing with something really personal right now where people feel like you're not entitled to a job, man. When you grown, you are competing for a job.
Yeah.
And that's the whole piece of it out there. Then, well, it just ain't gonna work. And don't work.
And I've never seen
you don't eat.
That's right.
I've never seen the level of just total disrespect. Man, they cussing behind the counter.
Ain't nobody in the restaurant but them.
I ain't never seen that as coming up. That was unheard of, man.
Unheard of.
If you ask for the manager, that person, oh no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Now you ask for the manager, I am the manager.
It's hurt a lot of people's business because if you don't see your bottom line in the success of that business, right? Where, okay, I'm just doing this because I just got to do this. This is something internal. Now, look, let me full disclosure. I don't go looking for work. I ain't that dude. Okay. But when it's time to work, I work.
Right.
I tell the people around here all the time.
Does NOV have to look now? Debo, if I'm not here at a certain time, Debo calling.
Oh yeah.
But I'm on time.
But I tell Carolyn, I tell Robin, Douglas, Byron, any of them. Don't you feel bad when payday rolls around and they go, "What? Why would you say that?" I said, because you ain't did nothing to deserve that payroll check. You sitting around here, you ain't did no work. You ought to feel bad.
The views and opinions expressed on this program is not of that of the staff and management of WNOV.
I wear her out every day.
Yeah, okay, here we go, because he gonna need security to get from behind. No, man, I had a situation where I was on I can monitor, I had the call center. So I can monitor the phones, right? I know who's active, who's, the whole thing. One day I look down, because look, at 8 o'clock, it's not the phones are coming up. The phones are up. We're accepting phone calls at 8 o'clock, not 8:01, not 8:02. I look, and then I'm really upset because I'm on hold at MATC for 20 minutes. So I'm sitting up here looking, and the more I'm looking, the angrier I'm getting. I walk downstairs, right? Because the supervisors are obviously of no worth. I walk downstairs. This woman is doing her income tax. Okay. I'm not saying people do stuff on the job. You think she put it up?
Who is you? What you gonna do? You want to answer them yourself.
Here's the flip on this. A lot of the people who worked in our system was in the system.
Wow. At some point or another.
At some point or another, right? That my early experience was that's where people were. So when you tripping on your worker not returning the call, your worker being rude, and then you turn around and exhibit the same behavior,
you become what you
hate.
despise.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing is, and so I had this little mantra: treat everybody like Big Mama. Because when Big Mama came down for her MA review, she wasn't waiting in the waiting room for 2 hours. You done brought her in. You got her sitting over here waiting in the cubicle. You got her the coffee, treat so that was my mantra, treat everybody like Big Mama. Now, in my mind, I don't know why that's a struggle for people, but obviously it is a struggle for certain people. I say this, look, I got all kind of repass stories, right? So repass is not just the people being served. Sometimes it's the servers. Help me, Black Jesus. All right, you're listening to Community Voice. Callers, I see you. Whew. I'm getting mad all. Don't have me get up. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Community Voice. The phone lines are open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Well, I have a guest who had to reschedule, so we're kind of open Throwback Thursday. Let me, this governor's race is getting very, very, it went from just flying under the radar to now we're on national news in terms of the state of Wisconsin and what's going to happen. I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime, where there are some concerns, and I think even with the polling, the Marquette polling that came out shows that Francesca Hahn still has a lead. Mandela Barnes is second, and then I'm thinking, I don't know who, and again, the Marquette poll did not include David Crowley because David Crowley had dropped out 2 weeks before they did the polling. There was also another poll that was done, and I don't know if it was still the Marquette poll, where right now, based on where they have, they show that Francesca Hahn, who's still in it? Francesca Hahn. They didn't say David Crowley. He's not part of it. But the three Dems who were in it would lose to Tom Tiffany. And the only one that showed that they had the possibility of winning was was Mandela Barnes. I don't want to call him Nelson Mandela. Mandela Barnes. This is a wow. I hate to use the word complicated, but this is really complicated because Mandela Barnes is trailing Francesca Hahn on the Democratic side in terms of the primary right now. We don't know what the impact of David Crowley getting back in the race is going to be because there hasn't been done any polling. I'm sure that there is some polling done by the Democratic Party, by the different campaigns that will kind of give you a sense of things. But even though you have a person who is leading right now in terms of the polling, and here's the other little thing there, and we need to put this asterisk out there. 45% of people still haven't made up their minds on the Democratic side in terms of who they're going to vote for. And I think that that's who people are going after. But I mean, if it becomes, and we're only, we're about 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out. Early voting starts next Tuesday. And so, and there's that word that you heard, electability. You know, for the Dems, what is their bottom line? Is the bottom line people getting out and making sure that they hear about the issues, or is the bottom line beating the presumed Republican nominee for governor, which would be Tom Tiffany? Man, again, this was, we were flying under the radar, and now all these things are coming out, and people are going to have to make a decision. And no matter who the nominee is on the Democratic side, and I would say on the Republican side too, is turnout will then be key in November, because if you get a good turnout, that bodes well for the Democrats. Low turnout, that bodes well for the Republicans. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, we look at this race and we look at the outcome of a lot of the people who out there trying to get in, Hong and Burns, and we look at Crowley, and we know Crowley can do the job. You know, I know. I've seen him. I've seen his work. He has receipts. He did drop out, but he's back there and he's making sense of things. And we look at Tiffany. If we let Tiffany get in there, we might as well say Trump is running it. So our options, we got a cool option there with Tiffany. But the thing here is that with our people, Mandela Barnes is over there, Whitefish Bay, and them folks are passing him the money. The white folks are passing him the money. And I honestly, personally, feel that he's in it to keep the numbers down from Crowley.
So let me ask this question. So if Crowley doesn't win, do you still support whomever the eventual?
I'm gonna have to support whomever in the Democratic Party, because ain't no sense. What am I gonna do? Go somewhere and put my head in a hole? No.
Well, and I think that's where, again, how people talk about it, where I understand and look, you know, you're trying to beat your opponent, but you don't want to get to the point where it's so damaged, the relationships are so damaged among those people who are still in the race that they will just, as they say, just leave you alone to death, and they do nothing. So, I mean, that's what all this is really turned into. And look, these are human beings with their feelings, with their egos. And but you know,
you put your life on the line.
To a bottom line.
You put your life on the line when you decide to go and put your hat in the political ring. You know, number one, and that's kind of rough. But the thing here is that this young man Crowley has a clean slate, a clean background, clean young man, hard working, and it ain't just because he's a black man, but he knows the job. And
but I also think that you have someone like Francesca Hong, who is from the Dane County area, and they're gonna, you know. So I mean, there are dynamics out there that I think if this would have just been kind of normal, and then on the flip side of this, the fear, and they're doing polling right now, and if that polling shows that Francesca Hahn could lose, and I don't know, people say take polling with a grain of salt. I got that. Polling's a two-edged sword, but if it's showing that she could not win against Tiffany, should that be a factor in how people then vote in the primary?
But they know she's not going to win against Tiffany. They need to go after Crowley, because Tiffany is.
But what if the polling comes up and says Crowley can't beat it?
You know what, I'm going to say it like this here. Yeah, we got Barnes, but I'm going to tell you, Tiffany is scared of Crowley. All of them are scared of Crowley. They're afraid of that young man and what he can do, because they know he know the job. He can do
and what
are
you basing that on?
I'm basing that on because look, being the county executive, the work that he's doing right now, he got.
But I'm saying, how do you know that they're fearful of him? Are you basing it on polling?
Okay, not the polling, but that's the thing is, when he came back in the race, they said, look what the Democrats done. They had to get, you know, they saying it out their mouths that, you know, and you look at what they say, and they tell you, okay. They don't like this cat. They know this cat is got something on them. He can.
They don't like what cat?
They don't like Crowley.
Okay.
They don't like it because he know the work. He can do the job, and he's a threat.
When you say they, who's the they?
Tiffany.
Okay.
And Hong.
But you got to remember, and this is the thing. This is the
Barnes said it's meant to. Come on.
But this is the primary, and the primary is different than the general, because the primary you have multiple candidates The question will be, will the Democrats do so much damage in this primary that whomever the nominee is, they're going to be weakened to the point that Tom Tiffany will have an advantage that he should not have. And here's why I'm saying he should not have this advantage,
right,
because he's so supportive of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is really unpopular.
Very unpopular.
So if you're able to go in, and the piece was because again, the Republicans do their polling. They knew that Francesca Hahn was the front runner. So the first attack ads I saw by the PACs weren't directed at Mandela Barnes, weren't directed at David Crowley or Kenda Royce. It was directed at Francesca Hahn because she was the front runner. Now,
she was the front runner.
Right. And I'm saying right now the polling says she still is the front runner. And we don't know what the Crowley impact is going to be until there's some polling that comes out and says that he has traction. We don't know at this point.
Well, the thing is that when Crowley came back in the door and the previous governor backed him, that was a plus. Instead of backing the lieutenant governor, the lady who bowed out because of her situation with her campaign manager. Now, that shows a lot for Crowley out the gate, and they did the polling.
But see, but the conversation you're having with me is why you think people should support David Crowley. I'm having a more expansive conversation about whoever the Democratic nominee is, what is their chances of beating Tom Tiffany? And I get all of that in the primaries. And again, I don't know if that factors in. That's that word, electability.
Did you know? I'm gonna say it again. Did you know before they did the polling, when Crowley came back in, the polling had already been done. That when he was out. So it really doesn't show his numbers at all.
Right. So, and that's why I'm saying that. And so until next week, if Marquette or whomever is going to do some polling, but I'm saying that the Dems had their internal polling, and they know that Francesca Hong would be a problem because they're going to label her as a Democratic Socialist. That is a negative piece in a purple state. That's what the Republicans are banking on. So I think the question should be, yes, we should go out, you vote who you think should be, but I think in the back of people's mind, and I know this is a hard one, the question should be in your mind, can this person beat Tom Tiffany if you're a Democrat? If you're Tom Tiffany, you want Francesca Hahn because he will be able to call her a Democratic Socialist, and she wants men and women's sports. And for a segment of the population out there, that's going to resonate. And I'm going to show you that. And look, if let's say David Crowley loses, there are going to be some black folks who are going to say, I ain't going to go vote.
You're right about that.
So I think that when we had the conversation, look, man, I got our feelings go into it, perception goes into it, but then I think we need to be clear, and I'm not saying I am totally clear on what the reality might be. All right, man, appreciate you. I got to take a break.
Yes, sir.
All right, appreciate you. Caller, I see you. I'm going to take a quick break. You're listening to Community Voice. We'll be right back.
Your host, Keith Parris.
Man, you stupid.
There ain't no question that I'm a black man. There ain't no question. There ain't no question. And we just had the conversation. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning. I had to call you back because normally I couldn't sleep. I normally take me a little nap in the truck sitting here. I couldn't sleep after what you said.
What'd I say?
You said roofers at $15 an hour, 10 to $15 an hour.
Okay. No, I said between 12 and 14.
Okay, 12. We'll say 14.
Okay, so did you look it up?
You go up there. So hold on. At $14 an hour, if you go up there for 8 hours, that brings you to what? $140. I mean, not even $140. That brings you. You said $14 an hour at 8 hours up there on that roof. That brings you to what?
If you call back, you should have did the math on it.
Yeah, well,
had me working on
I
your
was doing
argument.
round numbers. I was doing round numbers like
No,
10
you
to
had me
12.
working on your point.
No, we're working on your point, brother.
No, brother. Hold on.
Okay, so what's
Hold on,
what's
wait
the
a
matter?
minute, May. Wait a minute, May.
Okay,
All right,
man.
so we're gonna do top $14 an hour, right?
Yeah.
8 hours, right?
Yeah.
Equals $112. So that's less than the 300 you was talking about.
Hold on, brother. 12. So that's in 8 hours. Now remember, it only take these people. Most people, it only take 2 days to do a whole tear off and get back up there. Okay. So you telling me somebody going, and just say you got 10 people up there. So just say you got 10 people at $112 a pop. That's $1,200, man. Ain't nobody doing no roof for that. Not even a Mexican. Maybe a Mexican dope fiend, because ain't no.
You say $1,200. That's your labor, but it ain't gonna be $1,200. It's gonna be more than that. That's how the roofing company makes their money.
We're not talking about material now.
We're talking about the whole job. Labor is part of the job. Material is part of the job.
We said, hold on, you spending me now. You said the roofer. You didn't include no material because it depends on what the customer wants.
We were talking about what the average rate is for a roofer.
Man,
some people will be paying more, some people paying less.
For no 8 hours for no $114.
Yes, there is.
Not maybe a Mexican dope fiend, because a nigga dope fiend ain't gonna get up there for that.
Well, no,
your stuff gonna be falling off as he getting down.
No, he gonna fall off, man. Appreciate you. Let me get the next caller, man.
You right.
Caller, welcome to the program.
How you doing, Keith?
Good morning.
How you doing, Keith? Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you fine.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Okay. I want to ask you a question. The question is, I know I'm in another state, but we have somebody running for governor too. What happens is the people who are running are so bad, in your opinion, just say your opinion, you just don't vote for them, period? Then we had a Democratic Socialist running for senator. She didn't win or anything. But what happens if it comes to the point where the people are just so bad that you just say vote anyway?
Well, I think it's some big. Hold on. Now, I've been corrected. Okay, let me do this. The average hourly wage paid to a roofer is $24 an hour nationally, while contractors typically charge homeowners $78 per hour on average for residential labor and overhead. In the Milwaukee area, roofers average about $30.56.
Hey, Keith?
Yeah. No, I was just responding to something else. Hold on. Let me. Okay.
Go ahead.
National employee wage is 17 to 36 hours per hour, depending on skill. So about $24 an hour. All right. My bad. Call it. All right. Go on. It's the evil of two lessers. I think you make the decision based on who's closest to your self-interest.
Okay. But some of those guys running, like some of those people, I just couldn't vote for any of them. I didn't vote for any of them. Somebody said that was a shame. Then they had a Democratic Socialist in my state. She was running for senator. First thing one thing I'm noticing is that they run as Democrats. Then they run as Democratic Socialists, and they switch to being Democrats. So we have the same problem here too, where somebody ran as a Democrat. He was a senator. And then he all of a sudden he gets in there. He said, "Well, the thing, he's elected. He's running and being a Democrat. All of a sudden, this Democrat thing ain't working for me. I'm gonna." All the time I was Republican all the way. Then he switched to his party. And then we had another person who, the person now, he was a Democrat. Now he says, "By the way, I'm a libertarian." And I know why they're doing it. They know they would not get elected being a libertarian or even a Democratic Socialist. Maybe someplace like Vermont they would, but I'm not even sure. But like I said,
so when you hear Democratic Socialists, what are you reacting to?
I'm reacting to their platform, the ugliness of their platform.
So what do you disagree with in their platform?
Oh, their platform? Well, I was looking at, I'll mention two things. And they said they were saying that they don't want people renting out their home because that's considered exploitation. So you would not be able to rent out your home, okay? Because that's considered exploitation. And also, if you have if you're running a restaurant, let's say you're running a restaurant, and if you're a sole proprietor, that's fine. But if you have 4 or 5 people working for you, you have to split the profits with all those 4 employees. So those are the 2 big ones right here. And then their whole thing was, they would say that's not true, but I look at their platform, and they're not really too gung-ho about the police. I think they want to abolish, I know they want to abolish ICE. But I've been told that they abolish ICE. ICE will just go over to the FBI and some other government agency because you have to have border protection.
Wasn't ICE created after 9/11?
Yes. I'm just saying what they're talking about. I'm just saying if they got their wish and ICE was abolished, it would just go over to a different department because you had to have customs when you're bringing in goods. And you had to have somebody doing the borders too. I went to. I know some people. I'm not even sure they even believe in nations, no borders. There was a guy who was. He was like that too. He didn't believe in. I said we have borders or nations, and there's a reason why we have borders and nations. Because we may be all the same with 2 ears, 2 eyes, and every 2 feet. But as far as culture, I mean, we are not culture. I mean, half the people, half the women, and who are working with you, they would not be working. Period. They would be staying home and breastfeeding babies or something, or they would be somebody's husband. And your wife, Rhonda, I'm being respectful. I mean, she would not be doing what she's doing.
Oh no, not my wife.
No, I mean, if she was in a Islamic state, she would be. She would not be. I'm just saying that.
Right, but I understand that. First of all, I think that the whole immigration issue is not where people. They've been trying to do a comprehensive immigration bill going back to the 80s. I think the last one we had was under Ronald Reagan. But a lot of it is, one, our economy depends on undocumented immigrants working jobs that Americans are not working. I mean,
they won't work for the prices that people want them to work for.
Yeah, but it's also the price of everything goes up. If you pay what you would have to pay an American citizen. Now, we ain't talking about minimum wage. I don't know. I mean, I can look it up. But if you're looking at what people getting paid in fields, they're not getting paid $52 an hour to work out in that field. That the profit margin, the farmers wouldn't make any money. So you exploit. So a lot of the people in this country are here working, and they're not taking jobs that Americans would work. They're taking jobs that Americans won't work.
I will tell you, they will work, but they're not going to. Everything has switched to mechanization as far as they used to have cotton. They used to have people picking cotton, and then they got machines to do it.
Right.
Combines.
Right.
And that's why a lot of black people went up north. And then they have now they have a machine that does apples and peaches and everything else, like grapes and everything else like that.
Right.
But I'm saying everything's going towards mechanization. But I'm saying there was an example here. They had at Union Station here, and true story. Some brothers went down there trying to get jobs, and everybody working there was Hispanic. And hold on, Keith. And when they went back there, and then they complained, and they said, "Well, we're all filled up." So they went back there, and they spoke to the person who later became the city. He became mayor, and they passed a what is it called, E-Verify system. And once they did that E-Verify system, another number of black people were able to work went up dramatically. In fact, some of them were even become purchasing agents. and some of them were even becoming managers of that project. That project was a $500 million project, and I'm just saying that. And they were doing carpentry skills. They were doing management skills. Before they didn't even have any black people in there. All you saw was Hispanics and white guys. And I'm just saying that if you're going to have people in there, you need to do E-Verify. And I know why both parties don't want to have to do E-Verify because I think if they do E-Verify, that's going to.
Well, let me. Can I say this? Because it's not just the idea of immigrant labor. There's a real move in this country to not let people unionize, because when you have a union, you're in a different position to negotiate wages and benefits than you are if you're just saying, here's what the company offer you, take it or leave it. So that you have people like this is why I have not gone into Walmart. Walmart has been, they're union busting and anti-union. So I have not gone into Walmart. Because the idea is that American citizens benefit from unions. And so there's a reason why. There's a reason why Scott Walker did Act 10, I think that was Act 10, where he goes and decertifies the unions. Because employees don't have the same level of protection and advocacy when you're in there trying to do it by yourself, as opposed to, hey, look, if the wages are not fair, we're all walking. So I think that it's more complicated. I think that we can look at it, but if you look at the number of people in this country who are working, right, they're being productive, they're not eligible for benefits, right, so they're not off other than emergency medical assistance. I mean, in some ways, and some of these people are paying taxes and they can't even benefit from the taxes that they pay from in terms of having access to programs. So let me do this, man. I got another caller. I'm running.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know. But last question. What would you recommend if the two people are running and they're so bad, you just wouldn't vote for either one, or you just
would have to be better than the other one?
I mean, both of them are bad.
Yeah,
both of them are bad.
Well, I don't know. I mean, not to vote though is a vote for somebody that you probably really wouldn't want to get in. There's a lot of people who decided not to vote when Donald Trump was on the ballot, and guess what? He got in. Remember, I talked about at the beginning of this, turnout in Wisconsin is going to be real important, right? You have a strong turnout, that usually bodes well for Democrats. If people get so frustrated with, I don't like any of them, and stay at home, that's a vote for Republicans. Appreciate you, man. Let me get this last caller. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, what's up, Keith?
What's happening?
If Mandela can win in New York, why can't Francesca win here?
Because New York is a blue state and Wisconsin's a purple state. And what that means is in New York is overwhelmingly Democratic, right? And so then there are people there. And look, Mandela won, and he didn't really have any black support, right? So I'm just saying New York is different. So when you saw those congressmen, you're not going to have Democratic Socialists doing well in Georgia. They're not going to do well in Texas, right? And it's going to be tough here in Wisconsin because Wisconsin's a purple state. And what that means is it's 50-50. It can go either way. And so because a lot of voters are low information voters, they're going to hear the jingle. They're going to hear the whole thing. Right now you're hearing Trump out talking about the Democratic Socialists are communists.
Yeah.
Well, for a certain generation, that still resonates because commies are bad, right? The pinkos, the commies, so I think that messaging, and that's what politics really is. It really is messaging. And how does your message resonate with the potential voter? I'm sorry.
Do you think that they say that Mandela can beat Tiffany? If he wins, do you think he's coming after Michelle and Judge Taylor?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Are you sure? He hates them.
I can't be sure. I don't even know.
He hates both of them.
I think no. Well, okay.
He hates both of them.
I think I don't know if it's to that point. I think he has a bigger prize in mind, and so who knows?
What, president?
No, trying to win governor.
I'm saying he can beat Tiffany and he may be governor. Do you think once he got all that power, is he gonna come after Michelle and Judge Taylor?
No.
Okay, I think he is.
Okay.
So I'm not voting for him. I'm voting for Francesca Hong.
Okay.
All right, I'm out.
What if he wins the nomination? Would you vote for him then?
No, I'm staying home.
You know that's a vote for Tom Tiffany, right?
Well, he don't. I don't think that Mandela can beat Tiffany anyway.
Okay.
But whoever Marquette is polling, it ain't us. Okay.
Well, us is only like, what are we, 6% of the population?
Without us, you can't be governor. And
but he gonna need more than us to be governor. Whoever it is, she's gonna need more than us.
Oh, he got all the white people up north, but he will not have us.
Who's he?
That boy who hate Michelle and
No. I think he's a Democrat. That's what they look at first. And again, this is a purple state. It's even. Let me get this last caller. Appreciate you.
All right.
Caller, welcome to the program.
I'm so happy I got in today. I want to talk to Dr. Rideout.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Open both ears and listen to how Dr. Parris handled that person before you. He beat him to death with punch.
That's the only way to beat somebody to death, man. With points. With points. I'm going to whoop you with these points.
Look, he was talking about the pay. Who's hiring this cheap labor? It ain't the poor folk. It ain't black folk. So there's complicity and all that stuff. And then they come out with these acronyms, communist, socialist, and capitalist.
Mm-hmm.
All of these people don't even understand what they are. None of us are pure. And y'all have a good.
Hey, before you go, Brother Ward, you came from the south to the north. Remember,
I came from Atlanta, Georgia. Had plenty of role models all over me.
Atlanta in the south, right?
Right. Atlanta is the south. Everybody
what were they saying about black people that were coming up from Georgia and Mississippi? They were coming up to do what?
Work.
Take the jobs.
Right.
Take your jobs. Right. You know, and to the Boston area, that's why there's so much antipathy between Irish and the blacks, because they would tell, and this goes back to the 1800s, the blacks are coming to take your job. It's divide and conquer, because what people are trying to do, they've always exploited labor. I said this, slavery was probably as near to a good business model as one could get, because they put very little into their overhead was low, because they just exploited human labor, right? It wasn't like the slaves were getting a living wage. They wasn't.
Let me make one point. I tell everybody I know that the Republicans or the MAGAs or whoever they are, the ultra rich, the oligarchs, they're trying to enslave everybody.
Yes.
And they act like it's just blacks, but
exactly.
It's everybody. All of the poor. You can't get a job, you can't get a house, you can't get anything except you go through them and they approve.
And why would Walmart not want you to have a union?
And Walmart started off for.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah, but
and
the
they
whole
built
thing
up
is when you have a union, it's a different piece. And look, I can go either way with unions, because sometimes the unions was the thorn in my side, but I do understand the labor union movement and the benefits that labor unions had for the uplift of the American worker.
I have a simple solution to all of this.
Yes, sir.
If they made people pay taxes accordingly, we wouldn't have a problem. And y'all have a good one.
All right, appreciate you. And again, let me apologize for lowballing what roofers get. But okay, $34 an hour. I might get up on the roof.
I know.
Your boy didn't pay you that though, did he?
I wasn't making that working with. I ain't gonna say the person's name.
That's it. There you go. That's what we were talking about.
I was like when he do that, but he live on.
Yeah, right.
But he drive on.
Man, yeah.
He's married too. All right, y'all. Appreciate. Hey, man, really appreciate you all. Good program today. Thank you, Clark.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right out,
Bishop.
Man, dude, I thought you was my guy. You ain't gonna hook me up for the thing.
Yeah,
me and Clark gonna be out there.
Actually, man, I got VIP services for you guys, man, I'm gonna bring y'all in through the ceiling. So we gonna open up the ceiling and drop y'all. Just lower y'all down and right in the middle of the dance floor. Oh, it's gonna be a time.
Here's one of my pet peeves. Don't offer VIP and it's always sold out.
Right.
You listening to
that part.
You offer it,
but it's sold out.
already sold out. Like, dude, why you even mentioning it then? All right. You listen to Community Voice. Hey, y'all, the good Lord will and creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go for this place in peace.